Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right. And I've got Josh with me again today. How you doing, mate?
Doing great, doing great.
Cool. So our Queensryche top 10, we did the Jeff Tate era last week. And as promised, we're going to come back and do the Todd La Torre. So we haven't got that many albums to choose from, but plenty of good songs to choose from. That's the thing. Out of 3 albums, there's like loads. So obviously we get new music next year, but until then, we'll do a top 10 of Queensryche. And I found it easy to find 10 songs, man. I don't know about you. I could have had, loads. I mean, in my opinion, the first album, this is in my opinion, that Todd did, I loved it, but it was finding its feet more for me. But the next 2, Condition Human and The Verdict, are just classic, stone cold classics that, for me, would fit just in the classic Tate era Queensryche. They would fit just in with him, as good. So, man, I just love this new stuff. I'm just so glad Queensryche are back, and you?
Oh, I can't. I'm so excited.
So, early morning for me, mate. So I've got tea, yeah?
Yeah.
So, right, okay. So we're going to do top 10, 10 to 1. Josh is going to go first. And we've got some honourable mentions as well, obviously, like we always do. So without further ado, number 10, mate, what you got?
Okay, yeah, I couldn't agree more, actually. Part of me wanted to say the first album was right there with the second 2, but, listening to it several times, I'm like, no way, Condition Human and Verdict are much, much better. So yeah, I have to admit, yeah. So anyways, but I do have, I have a mix of songs. I just want to say I had one song though that stood above the rest. The other 9 were really tough for me to. So here we go. At number 10, off the Condition Human album, I got Guardian. Love that track. Yeah. And just opening riff. The riff, of course, always pulls me in, as they say. The scream, Todd's screams are off the chain on it. It's got a kind of got that dogmata type of chorus from the solo record. It like Reverie. I typically like the more backing vocal choruses with the harmonies and stuff more than I like these styles. But it always fit. The thing about this band is it always fits the song. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. I can't argue with that. When it fits the song, I have to go against my nature of wanting the backing vocal harmonies and stuff like that. So, anyways, yeah.
That definitely had a hints back to Mindcrime as well, that song, didn't it? Like it didn't say Revolution Call, it might have done something like that, but it sounded very similar. I think they found their way more and more as a standalone band. I mean, everyone says, oh God, they're just a copy of or a cover band, don't they? That's their dig at them because Jeff Tate's not in them anymore.
Yeah.
But I think more and more up to The Verdict, they found their own sound more and more, if you like. Even though they still sound like Queensryche, they found their Todd Queensryche sound more and more, for sure.
Yeah.
Good choice, though, mate. My number 10 is off of the Queensryche album, so the self-titled one, the first one with Todd, In This Light. Absolutely love the song. It's probably the most melodic song off of that first album. I mean, I think that first album, I was just frustrated. It was so short as well. It was quite a short album, wasn't it? Didn't get much music on there. It was just, it sort of come and gone in a second after all them years of waiting for something decent. and you want, I mean, I'm not into really long albums either, but you wouldn't have minded a 45-minute album. I think it was just over 30 minutes or something, 35 minutes. I love Todd's voice over that clean guitar at the beginning or all through the song. Almost a ballad, this one. Get very close to a ballad. There's a twin lead part in this, man. They're just as good up there with anyone who does twin lead. One of the sort of pioneers of it, if you like. Back to that classic Queensryche sound that we all loved, and I just couldn't believe it was back. So In This Light is my number 10.
Great. Outstanding track. Yeah. So yeah, for my number 9, like I said, we were talking about best album from the Todd La Torre era, and I read back as I listened this time around. I have to agree that Conditioned Human is my favorite record, just slightly over The Verdict, because The Verdict was for quite a while, but I can't, the depth of this album, it's just, there's just no bad tracks on it. It's just solid all the way through. So I was like, yeah, and this was a track that that really jumped out at me because it's so different, and that's I-9. It reminds me of the band Tool a lot with the bass group. You know what I mean? Really killer bass group to it. So really dig that track.
It's like they do. What's that? There's one they've done on the new album as well. I've got it on my list actually, but I won't give it away. They do sort of like, it's like their NM156, sort of bit like that, isn't it? They do a weirder, more progressive track, I suppose. It's a great choice though, man. I love that song. I'm with you though on the best album. My best album is Conditioned Human. I don't know, but I love The Verdict as well. But Conditioned Human, I think The Verdict is a grower. Even now, I listen to it doing this list, and I was listening to the songs thinking how fantastic it is, you know.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Okay, my number 9. I'm also going back to the debut album, or not the debut album, the self-titled first Queensryche album as well. It's a bit confusing, isn't it? Because it's Queensryche, and it's so late in their career. It's like you got to explain what the album is, and it's A World Without.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I love this, and I'll tell you what made me choose this as well. I don't know if you remember that interview with Todd. He said about this song, what it's about, and it's about a woman who loses a baby in childbirth. Well, no, she dies in childbirth, or the mum dies in childbirth, so the kid is growing up without a mum. I thought that was like, didn't even know it was about that. You know, I think Queensryche's lyrics are so clever, and they can be so abstract, can't they? And people can take with it what they will, but it sort of made me listen to the song in a different way, and it's very haunting when you actually listen to it knowing that it's about a kid growing up without her mum. So huge sound to it, very orchestral and epic, just like Queensryche are. Just amazing song, and there's some really great tracks in that album, but I just think it was all the rest of mine tracks, I think, by the way, are from the other 2 albums. So that's how much I think of how they improved from that Queensryche album to Conditioned Human and The Verdict are just streaks ahead for me. You know, I mean, even I loved that album, that first one with Todd, but I think the last 2, production-wise as well, the bass is ramped up. I don't think the production was really there for that first one. It sounded a little bit tinny, if you like, but it was still brilliant compared to anything they've done since Empire, probably. That many years. But anyway, A World Without, mate, that's my number 9.
Yeah, I almost call it the 2013 album because it's weird with the self-titled. I just so confusing. But all right, so at number 8, I went with the album ender, Open Road. I really dig this song. Off the 2013 record, and it's just a very moody song. I like the acoustic guitars that come in towards the end. That kind of that guitar riff that they use, Queensryche uses a lot. That melodic, kind of reverbish, type of melody with the acoustic guitar. I just really dig the guitar work on this track and vocals, everything. So yeah.
It's a great track, man. Brilliant choice. My number 8 is from The Verdict, so we're going to the newest album, if you like, Dark Reverie. So you're going to find this a lot on my list. I like the more mellower songs that Queensryche do. I don't think I've got any really fast songs on here at all. They're all either mellow ones or they're medium pace sort of songs. I think Queensryche are just brilliant at that, and I'm a sucker for that sort of speed of song as well. But very cool, like odd time signatures running through the whole song. You know, they are so progressive in a way, but they always keep the melody there, so they're not known as a real progressive band because they're so melodic as well at the same time. They don't take you out of it, do they? You know, like a lot of progressive bands do, where it's so too much. It's just all the time. It's just weird stuff going on. Todd puts everything into this. Todd La Torre emotionally, like he does with when he sings any song. There's a brilliant bit that I'll just quote some lyrics off there before it goes into the solo. The we all fall, we all hurt, we all bleed. Then into that, like, an amazing solo. It's just so emotional. That part, absolutely brilliant. Love Dark Reverie. I think it was a single. It was one of the last ones, I think. But epic, absolutely epic song, mate. Dark Reverie's my number 8.
Outstanding track. That's going to be coming up later for me. Oh yeah. So I was like, I'm kind of went back and forth with this one, but I was like, you know what? I like the groove, I like the riff, and it's Man the Machine for number 7.
Yeah.
Off the Verdict. Really heavy track. Probably, if not the heaviest track on the record, right up there. It's really riff heavy. Just love the groove, and I feel like, wow, okay, the next record, are we gonna go even more like this, so yeah.
It's a great song, man. My number 7 is off of Conditioned Human, so probably the most epic track they've done so far in length. I think it's the longest. It's the actual title track. So it's a 7-minute 46 seconds. Probably the most, like I said, epic one since Todd's joined the band. Gives me that sort of, it's one of them ones that's on the end of the album. Don't mean to harken back and compare, but a bit like Anybody Listening, that sort of real long epic sort of sound. Queensryche have a certain, you've mentioned their guitar sound earlier. Also, apart from acoustic guitar, when they put an electric guitar without an effect on it, it's just a clean guitar, it's got a certain sound, doesn't it? Queensryche's guitars, you just know straight away. You can feel this song. It sort of builds and builds and builds. I love that. Like when it goes heavy, the heaviest it gets. Is it Welcome to the Generation? That part, just absolutely amazing. Like I said, so epic, so many twists and turns. Absolutely love it. Conditioned Human, the title track, mate, is my number 7.
Outstanding track.
Yeah.
Might possibly be up there with me too. Maybe. Maybe.
I think we might be on the same wavelength here, mate, for sure.
Don't want to give it away. So yeah, for number 6, I went back to The Verdict again, and I know the song was a single, and it's Blood of the Leavin'. That track. Love that track. Just a cool groove, heavy, just love. It's kind of a little bit progressive.
It is.
I just really dig that track.
But nearly everything they do is a little bit progressive, isn't it? I mean, that's just a real rocker, but it's definitely like the rhythm of that. It's not quite normal. It's just a little bit off, but it's they do it so well, don't they? They're brilliant at it.
They'll change tempos, like just on the tempo,
Yeah, it's brilliant. Okay then, mate. So number 6, I'm going back to Conditioned Human again. And it's Selfish Lives. I'll tell you what, there's a trio of tracks on here that are just amazing, and they're all together, so that sort of gives my choices away, but it sort of doesn't as well, because it could be earlier or later. But there's 3 tracks together which are the highlight of the album for me, and Selfish Lives is one of them. When it kicks in, it just brings that real, and I'm harking back, I'm afraid, but that Mindcrime feel, it just gives me those feels. The groove of the guitar in the verses, while Todd's vocals, just classic Queensryche. The solo is brilliant, and I think they're swapping like they do a lot, and they come in with the twin lead parts, and then another one takes a bit similar to Striper in it. Their solos are so unorthodox. They're coming with a Ozfox to start one off, then Michael and Sweet carry on doing it with him, a twin lead bit, then it'll go Mike. It's just they flick back and forth. They're just an amazing band at doing that, and it makes the solo so interesting to listen to, so Selfish Lives, mate, is my number 6.
Yeah, great song. Yeah, so top 5, yeah, and this top 10, man, I mean, if we did this next week, I'd probably change a little bit. Some songs would still remain, but some songs might not make it, because this band has been so on fire with Todd on vocals. So it wasn't as easy as I thought it was, actually. No. But I went with my number 5. I went off The Verdict. I went Portrait. Love this track. Love this track. Yeah. Kind of a moody track and slow at times, and kind of picks up. I really dig it. I think it's the album. I think it's the album ender, right? On that.
That's their sort of. Again, it's their sort of one, like the ones that you like. They're anybody listening type track in it. On the end, it's very mellow. But
someone else. Yeah. Anybody listening.
I love it. I mean, I think it's a good way to end an album, like that. A lot of bands end it with a fast rocker, don't they? But I think it's nice to end up with something a bit more epic, a bit more slower, But no, it's a great choice, mate. Love that song. Okay, mate, I'm going to The Verdict for this one, on number 5. And it's that real progressive song, Bent. I absolutely love Bent. I think this is you had I9, didn't you, off of Condition Human. It's like that for me. This one, it's a grower, if you like. So when you first hear it, it's a bit strange, very progressive, heavy. Love that riff that comes like in and out of the song. Like you hear it from the beginning. It's a real heavy riff, and it comes after the chorus as well, especially. So experimental. Like I said, odd time signatures running right through this. The sort of the chords are so sort of beautiful, the way they open up over the whole song. It's just an amazing song, this one. And this is one of them ones that won't get you at first. You'll sort of listen to the album, and the hooks on the rest of the album be more catchy, and you'll be like, I don't know about that song. I was a bit like that with this, but the more and more I listen to it, that's what Queensryche do. They open things up for you. The more and more you listen, you hear things that you didn't hear before. They're very clever band. I think if you think about your favorite albums of any band over the past, they're probably the ones that didn't get you immediately. They weren't too catchy, and then over time they get you, and then once it gets you, that's it.
Exactly.
Okay then, mate. Cool. Up to number 4.
No, I want to add to that I highly recommend Queensryche fans that kind of maybe left the band after hearing the Now Frontier. I don't want to harp on that, but that's where I checked out. I couldn't stand that record and everything that kind of came after that. And I highly recommend the fans not only to give Todd a chance, but to let these songs grow on you and listen to them over and over. They're not the type of band that you could just listen to once or twice and you got it. You know what I mean? You got it. There's so many nuances and subtleties. And I said, I probably got to continue listening to these 3 records, and it'll even change on there. So it's just that they're that kind of band. They're that deep and technical and complex. So they're not a radio type band. So you gotta give it more time to grow, like you said. So
all I can say is if now the band had Geoff Tate back in them right now, I'd be gutted, because Geoff Tate hasn't recorded any good music with them or on his own. And I know a lot of fans really love him, but he hasn't recorded anything as good as these last 3 records since Empire. So, it's not as if Geoff Tate's going to come back and be the saviour of the band. Todd La Torre, I'm not saying he's the saviour of the band, but he fits in right perfect with what they're doing. Obviously, all the rest of the guys are writing music just like they used to. So, it's probably that they've got the freedom now to do what they want, rather than be held down by someone who just does what he wants and doesn't want to do anything that they used to do. Simple as that. It's fair enough that Geoff Tate wants to do whatever experimental stuff he wants to do. That's fine.
Right.
But, don't these fans that moan and say, oh, we want Geoff back, it's not the same. When was it ever good with Geoff Tate? Last time it was good was maybe Promised Land. That's it.
Yeah. Right. And then now we got Sweet Oblivion, which is solid.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's not as good as Queensryche, but it's
not even the same. it's not even in the same league as what Todd's done on these last 3 records. Not even in the same league. It's not even close.
Mate, this must be my most rant I've ever done since I've done this channel. It must be the one that I've spoken about the most, about the way it winds me up.
Oh, I gotcha. I know. All right. Getting back. So number 4, I'm going to go with the song that you already had in your top 10, and that's A World Without. Oh, yeah. Favorite track off the first record. Yeah. Outstanding track. Oh, just hit me right away. You know. So everything you said, I totally agree with that track.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant track. Okay, then, mate. Well, my next one is one of the 3 tracks I'm talking about on Conditioned Human that are together. So it's Toxic Remedy. I just love this song, man. After the initial guitar melody, honestly, I get, every time I listen to it, I get chills when it goes into the song proper. Todd's lower range is just mental. He's just got that tone, hasn't he, at the lower range. He can hit any height, but when he goes deep, it's just how you want a Queensryche singer to be in it. That just how Jeff Tate was right back in the classic days, you know. This would have fitted on any of those old albums, those classic albums. This song, it just would have been right in there, and it wouldn't have been any. You wouldn't have known any better. It's absolutely brilliant. Love it. Toxic Remedy, mate. My number 4.
All right, getting up to the nitty gritty here. The top 3, tough. Going back to what one of the songs that you mentioned before is my number 3, and that's the title track from Conditioned Human. Oh yeah, outstanding track. Oh, it's an epic. It's haunting. I love the choir at the end.
I was going to say that, man. That bit, that "Welcome to the Generation," and it's just like whoa.
Yep. It's got that Operation Mindcrime, some of that Sweet Sister Mary, haunting choir voices, that they.
And even that riff, da-na, is a bit.
Yeah,
it harkens back for sure.
Yep. Just epic songs. What is it? Over 7 minutes long? I mean,
it's about 7 minutes 40 something.
Yeah.
I had it written down. Brilliant track.
So, what a track!
Oh yeah, and it comes and goes as if it's like 3.5 minutes. It doesn't sound like it's. That proves how good the song is when it comes and goes, and it doesn't seem like it's 8 minutes long. It's just an amazing song. Twists and turns, mate, all over the place. Very catchy as well, even though it's one of them epic songs. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay then, mate. My number 3, and I'm going to the verdict. Light Years. Oh man, I just love this song. This was my favourite song of 2019, by the way. It was my best song out of all them records that were released. Such a heavy riff going over the verses. Another amazing chorus. Just soars. That bass part before the solo, there's a bass part. Man, they're so inventive. Even now they're bringing. Obviously it helps with the songwriting with Todd in the band and the whole new energy they've got. But they're still doing new stuff now. Queensryche really, they were the pioneers of inventiveness, weren't they? Back then, they just did things that other bands didn't do. But they're still Queensryche are doing that stuff now. Solo's amazing again, twin lead in and out, just like they're swapping around, and Todd does his scream at the end. It's just amazing. If there's any doubters out there, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to go into one again, you watch. Anyway, that's my number 3, mate. Light Years.
Oh, outstanding track. What a track. For my number 2, I went off the same record, Conditioned Human, and that's Bulletproof. It's my number 2 track. Oh, just outstanding. It's probably one of the most commercial songs for Queensryche of the new era, Todd era, and it's sort of a forward track, but the chorus is just so epic, the way he sings it and the backing vocals. And I'm like, if this song was released 30 years ago, it's a hit. I mean, it is all over the radio. Could have put it right on Empire. Yeah. You know, been a huge hit. Just absolutely love this track, and you know, can't say enough about it. So,
well, it's that good, mate. It's my number 2 actually, Bulletproof. Oh, I just love it, man. This was probably the track that grabbed me first when hearing the album, because, like you said, it's very immediate. That chorus is just so melancholy and sad, but so catchy at the same time. Unmistakable clean guitar sound going through the album again, you know, without the effects on it. One of Todd's best performances for me off of all 3 albums. The chorus, like I said, is one of the best they've ever written. Like you said, it would have been a hit without a doubt, you know, in the glory days of when bands were popular, you know. The band, it sounds like they put everything into this song. It really does. Very underrated, I'd say, this song, because, well, metal in general is underrated anyway, isn't it? Because of the way the music industry is. But it's a huge song, man. An absolutely huge song. I love Bulletproof. It's my number 2. So there you go. It's just fantastic. Great choice, though, mate, for your one as well. So, okay. We're at, what we at? We're at number 1, aren't we?
Yeah. But getting back, before I get to the number 1, get back at this, especially on Bulletproof and Condition Human, that particular record, I could see, you know, Eddie Jackson, the rhythm section come together so much more, you know, even it was like the old days with Scott Rockenfield, you know, back on, you know, on drums. And we'll talk probably a little bit about the drums later, but I want to add that I love Rockenfield as a drummer. I didn't mention that video. Such an underrated drummer. You talk to any musician and his name usually will come up as, you know, top of the line drummer. So he's outstanding.
He is, man.
So the first 2 records, he was outstanding on these. So anyways, so for my number 1, you mentioned it earlier, I believe it was your number 8, but I'm not sure, and that's Dark Reverie. Is by far my favorite Queensryche song of the new era. It's got that, you know how big of a Fates Warning fan I am. I knew about Fates Warning and Ray Alder as the vocalist, and they've toured with Queensryche, done some great tours. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see them. But I love Fates Warning and John Arch, the original guitar player or vocalist. And so it just got that kind of Ray Alder, Fates Warning, progressive, but also very, you know, a little bit commercial, a little bit radio-ish. So the songs go right onto the radio and kind of fool some people, you know, like non-progressive fans would probably go, wow, this is really cool. So it's so mellow, but it's just, and the ending is one of the best endings to a song I've ever heard in my life. I mean, you know, we are, you know, where they're singing, we are one, we are, you know.
It's amazing, man.
And you threw that part in about that guitar in there at the end, just the beautiful twin lead guitars in there. It's just, there's nothing like it. When Queensryche are at their best, they've got Wilton and or, you know, whether it's Parker or it's Wilton DeGarmo, when they're doing that thing together, it's hard for me to beat, you know, guitar wise. It's just the tone, perfect tone on their instruments. I mean, guitar tone.
Amazing, man. You're totally right. What a brilliant track. What an absolutely brilliant track.
Yeah.
Well said there, man. You're just like, I could tell on your face how much you think of the band, and it's just a shame that, you know, there's a lot of fans out there, Queensryche fans, that are now sticking with Todd. And they think he is Queensryche now, and that's it, and he's brilliant for the band, like as we do. But there's still some out there, mate, that don't believe it. It's just a bit strange. Anyway, going back to my number 1, mate, and I said about the 3 tracks, didn't I, that are together? My favourite tracks off the album, off of Condition Human, and this one. Well, I mean, they were my highlight. Those 3. Obviously, Bulletproof was my number 2, but that's separate. But my part of my 3-track little amazing part of the album to finish it off is Hellfire. Oh man, this gives me real classic Queensryche feels. This one, you know, rage, mind crime sort of feels at the beginning. When Todd and the band kicks in, it's just amazing. It's just Queensryche at their best, progressive, inventive, melodic. There's no one does it better, is there? You know, this song proves how much they were held back all them years now to produce something like this. It's just absolutely amazing. The part at 3:40 where it all changes up as well, it just, things completely change just like they do. Amazing, mate. Absolutely amazing. Hellfire's my number one. There you go. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yep.
Okay, so do you want to go honorable mentions then, mate?
Yeah. So in that list of songs, when you mentioned it, I kind of did a face palm, you know, because I'm like, how did I miss this song out of my top 10? But
well, it's hard. It's hard, man.
Too late, you know. But and maybe Queensryche fans out there will smack me do it for me and smack me. But
there's so many choices, mate. There's so many choices. So it's just like, they're all good.
Well, it's the song In This Light. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Light Years. I wrote it hard. Yeah, it's Light Years. Ouch. Yeah. Like you said, it just right when you first hear Light Years, jumps out at you. So that I had to throw that one in there. Go on and on about that. So, all right. So that's a big one. And then I've also got Fallout off the first record. Love that tune. I've got Where Dreams Go to Die off the first record as well. Love that track. I've got probably one of the heaviest tracks or guitar riffs on that record is Spore. I love Spore. Great track. I've also got Hourglass on there as well. Another really fast track off the first record, All There Was. Love All There Was. One of your favorites that you mentioned, Toxic Remedy. I've got that track. Oh, outstanding track. I've also got Hellfire. Love Hellfire. I've also got Bent as well, which is kind of grown on me. That was a different track. And do I have 9 so far, or do I have 10 on the honorable mentions? I'm trying to figure out if I don't. I've also got In This Light. So yeah.
I mean, there's an argument for every song off of Condition Human and Verdict to be on this list. You know, I think them two albums are just, not saying anything away from the 2013 self-titled album, but I think there's an argument that any of those songs off the last two albums could be on anyone's top 10 easy. They're just amazing. I've got off the 2013 album, I've got Where Dreams Go to Die and Spore. Like, Spore reminds me of something off of The Warning. It's just amazing. I've got Open Road as well. You mentioned that one. Off of Condition Human, I've got Iron 9. Blood of the Levant off of The Verdict, Inside Out, and Portrait as well I've got down. Just amazing, man. Just a really excellent performance by the band, and just glad they're back. It's just one of them bands that for all them years we missed out on, because I left them like you did. I listened to bits of their albums. I occasionally heard a sort of glimpse of what they were. Not much. It was just a part of a song or one song that was okay, but the rest was shit. You know, it's just one of those things. But they're back. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You were saying about the drumming as well.
Oh,
I think that the drumming on The Verdict is absolutely brilliant by Todd La Torre, and apparently he tried to have a real Scott Rockenfield, Queensryche feel to it, and he done an amazing job. But just for me, knowing that the singer was doing the drumming as well, I didn't like it. I love the album, and if I know, you know, it's just, it didn't feel like the whole band was together. I love the fact that now they've got a drummer and that he's going to be recording the new album. Todd's drumming is just brilliant. You know, he's as good as anyone out there. Yeah. Just the fact that there wasn't a drummer in the band at the time, I didn't like it. I wanted it to feel like a band, you know. But it was a brilliant bit of drumming by Todd, obviously. And I think the drummer will be perfect. I think he'd be brilliant, and he'll take on that Queensryche feel without a doubt. And apparently he's one of the best drummers in the world anyway. You know,
is that Casey Grillo? Is that Casey?
Yeah,
Grillo?
He used to be in Camelot or something, didn't he? I think he was a Camelot drummer. So, I mean, they're very, very progressive band, probably more progressive than Queensryche. So he's going to be able to do anything that Queensryche put at him. But I'm just glad they've actually got a drummer now. And I know it's not Scott Rockenfield. But,
right.
You know, if he's gone, he's gone. You could say that about Chris DeGarmo, couldn't you? You know.
Yeah. But there's nothing we could do about it. You know what I mean? I mean,
no.
Of course, perfect world, you'd want members like that. But these other guys that have come into the band are outstanding. Parker's a great guitar player, you know, and I've totally accepted Parker as a guitar player. And I like what Casey's doing. And I'm hearing that Casey lives down there in Florida near Todd. So imagine two drummers right near each other, you know, working on stuff together. That's just because, you know, I first found out Todd was a drummer when I think it was on the Monsters of Rock tour or cruise, and it was on YouTube, and he came out and did Soldiers Under Command.
Mate, I watched it yesterday. That's amazing.
I mean, Robert, as we know, Robert Sweet's incredible. And he was just hitting every note, you know, note for note. I was going, geez, he can rock on drums, you know, it's incredible, you know, but like you said, we want to have an actual drummer and let Todd just kind of focus on his vocals, you know, on being the front man and stuff like that. So,
I mean, you got. I mean, people will now use that as a reason, probably not to listen to Queensryche, because Scott Rockenfield. It seems that Queensryche fans use anything they can to like not like the band. So you know, it's Jeff Tate, it's Chris DeGarmo, and now it'll probably be Scott Rockenfield. It's not the same without those. People are just. I think they look for things for a reason not to like the band, you know. And but the majority of people now are on board with it, but you always get them people, won't you? I mean, look at when was the last? Remember, I said to you the other day, Chris DeGarmo was on Here in the Now Frontier. He couldn't save that record, could he?
No.
And he's one of my favourite guitarists of all time. Let's not forget that. He's a brilliant songwriter.
He's a great writer. He's a great writer. I mean,
I just think that they were just overpowered by Jeff Tate and what he wanted, and he didn't give a shit what the other bands the rest of the band wanted, and he held them to ransom, if you like, and said, look, and he went in the direction he wanted to go in, and no one argued with him.
Well, I went back and looked at the later years. I don't know exactly what year, but his wife Susan became the manager of the band, and then his daughter, I believe, was involved. And
you know what happens to Spinal Tap, don't you? When that happens,
you know. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying not having family isn't a good thing. I'm sure when Jeff's out on the road, getting older, he probably liked having, you know, family maybe out on the road or closer to him. And maybe financially that went his direction. But it just led to that horrible collapse.
Look, mate, it only takes one member to say they're not happy with a decision that the manager makes, and it should be it should be kept separate, shouldn't it? So your family, she's the manager, but you can say anything you want to about the manager because it's the manager. So the band members probably felt like they couldn't say anything. What an proper awkward situation. But mate, whatever they've done in over them years, they're getting it right now, in my opinion. So there you go. That's the main thing, isn't it? We've got it back. We've got the old Queensryche.
Can't wait for the next record. I mean, after Todd just released this solo record, and I'm hearing all the band members love his solo record or totally dug it. So that I love that because they know he's not leaving the band, and they can really appreciate the work that he's done, and you know, inject what he does into Queensryche that has nothing to do with that solo record. So I love everything that's going on right now. I know some fans maybe don't, but I love the relationships that are. And Michael Wilton, I wanted to throw in. I feel like he was overshadowed back in the day by Jeff Tate, and they had so many stars in that band, you know, and Eddie Jackson. Those two guys, Wilton and Jackson, have been there since the beginning, and I feel like they've really grown as musicians, and you know, they've got more leadership role in the band. I love that.
The recent albums prove to you, don't it, that them members, it weren't just all about DeGarmo and Scott Rockenfield. You know, it's about, and Jeff Tate especially. Them guys have always been there, and they're producing some of the best music they've ever done. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right then, mate. We've stopped ranting now. Oh well, it's just one of those things, isn't it? You can't not talk about Queensryche and not talk about the old and the new. You just can't help it. It's just one of those things. Thanks for joining me again, mate, and I'm sure we're going to catch up soon on something else. Hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I did. I had a blast. Love doing it.
And any Queensryche fans out there that's still denying, you're the ones that are missing out in it. You know, if you can listen to the new stuff and just still deny it, that it's, you know, not good, you know, you need a new set of headphones, or you need something. I don't know what you need.
There's nothing we can do.
No, there ain't nothing we can do. All right, cheers then, mate, and I'll see you next time.
All right.